there's an equation. This is the but equation. And most people live in the dream, the desire, the vision, the idea, but challenge. Put a whole bunch of stuff in the beginning. So let's just go dream, but challenge. Dream or idea, but challenge. Most people live in that and therefore continue to live in challenge. It's either victim or survivor. Y'all know that from being plugged into all of the other episodes that we've had. When we realize that we can change that equation and flip it around to challenge, but idea, dream, vision, action, execution, doing, and done, your life will completely change. We can simplify it. No buts. No buts. We sit on our butts and we got to get our butt out of our mouth. I don't know about you, but that tastes bad. So we don't do buts until we understand how to implement that equation properly.
So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Prosperity U podcast. We like to come together every week and talk about some topics, patterns that we've seen, things that can help folks and will help folks get the success they're looking for. Now, obviously, we talk a lot about trading, so that is part of the focus, but not the only focus, right? We're focused on prosperity. So today, we're actually going to talk about a good one. Basically, the fact that you're not alone. So a lot of folks, when they are going on this journey towards prosperity, they very much like to do it by themselves. And sometimes it's an ego thing, right? No one can do it better. Other times, though, it's because they were screwed over in the past and they got some trust issues. They don't want to get any help from other people because they give someone else power over their life. Those kinds of things. So I kind of want to talk about those and use some examples from our own experiences on what it means to not be alone and the power in community and some of those things. So I have my own story that I'd like to share, but I'd like to open, since I did the intro, anyone have a story that they'd like to start us off with?
Call. May I set the terms of this call?
Sure.
There is an equation that'll change your life when you start to understand this equation. Do I have everybody's buy-in? Can everybody be with me right here, right now? I want to make sure I have everybody's buy-in. I can't see.
You muted yourself there, Brian.
Glad I got your full attention. Cool. So, Travis, do I have your buy-in?
Of course.
Janelle, do I have your buy-in? James, do I have your buy-in?
I'll bite.
I don't need, I don't gotta. I want you guys to hold me accountable to what I'm sharing with you here as well. It's gonna be a fun game. Now, in the chat, do I have everybody's buy-in? Drop an 8 for infinity. Deborah says yes. I'm seeing Travis. Cameron says yes. What am I buying? Guy says, what am I buying? Are you bought into the terms that I'm setting for this podcast session? This is going to change people's lives when they realize how they can completely change the atmosphere of their life when they implement this properly. Do I have your buy-in, guy? 8 for infinity. Boom. 8 for infinity. Awesome. Kelly Cooper says 8 for infinity. And anyone else, I welcome your 8 for infinity. On the Facebook page, if you are watching this, 8 for infinity. On YouTube, if you're watching this, 8 for infinity. On Apple Podcast, if you're watching this, 8 for infinity. And every other platform. Are there any other platforms that we are live on, or this will be published to there, Zach?
All the podcast platforms, right? So there's Spotify, there's Google Podcast, there's all of those.
8 for infinity. If you are bought in and you are fully present and you're with me right now, wherever, whenever you are listening to this, all right, there's an equation. This is trademarked as of now. It is the but equation. Okay. This is the but equation. And most people live in the dream, the desire, the vision, the idea, but challenge. Did everybody catch that? Put a whole bunch of stuff in the beginning. So let's just go dream, but challenge. Dream or idea, but challenge. Most people live in that and therefore continue to live in challenge. It's either victim or survivor. Y'all know that from being plugged into all of the other episodes that we've had. And I have even fallen in this on those calls. So if you ever hear, everybody said that they were bought in, they're going to hold me accountable. So if you want to go back to the other episodes that we've had and call me out, please do. You have permission to call me out anytime. So again, dream, idea, but challenge. When we realize that we can change that equation and flip it around to challenge, but idea, dream, vision, action, execution, doing, and done, your life will completely change. So I want to set the pace here. Unless we do that, here's the deal. If we think we can't do that equation, we can simplify it. No buts. No buts. We sit on our butts, right? We sit on our butts. We don't want to be a butt, and we got to get our butt out of our mouth. I don't know about you, but that tastes bad. So we don't do buts until we understand how to implement that equation properly. Do I have everybody's commitment on that?
Yes.
Okay. I got Zach. Do I got Travis?
Let's go.
I got Janelle. And I got James's thumbs up. 8 for infinity in the comments. All right. I'm going to let you take it away there, Zach.
Well, on that note, actually, that equation is so applicable to every area of life. Because I'll tell you what, as a parent of 6 kids, there's something I used to do many, many years ago. I've really focused on this hard, actually, over the last few years. But there I go. So much for that. I really have.
It's a redirect. Great.
Yeah.
It's a fun game, right? It's a fun game.
So one of the things that I found, the worst use of but, in my opinion, from my experience, is when you use it with your kids and the part before the but is I love you, but. That's the worst. And parents do this, they don't even realize what they're actually saying, what the psychology is involved with that. But I used to do this all the time, right? So like if somebody didn't wash their dish properly, like there's still dirt on it or whatever, I would say, hey, you know what? I love you, but you got to learn to clean the dishes better. Right?
What'd you do in the first part?
Yeah. So what if instead, and this is what I do now, what if instead I'm like, hey, this dish needs to be cleaned a little bit better. You can see here and here, but I love you. It changes it completely because the focus, what comes after the but is the truth. So it applies everywhere, guys, everywhere. Traders. How many of you have ever said something like, I have a pretty good win rate, but how many of you have done that, right? Or like, I think I understand everything, but no. You got, flip it around. Flip it around. It is actually, it exposes a whole lot. It's a fabulous equation. Same with like, I want to succeed, but no. That's not how this works. Cool. So, I want to talk about not being alone specifically. However, dang, that's so hard. I want to talk about that while also talking about this butt equation. Okay. So I think we can actually kind of combine those things. Has there ever been, Travis, let me ask you this. Has there ever been a time where you felt you absolutely had to do something by yourself and later learned it was not a good idea?
I'm sure. Nothing comes to the top of my mind right now. Let me digest that for a second.
No worries. I can come back to you. So, because I've had that happen a few times. Go ahead, James. You got one?
Yeah, I got minor issue with the "I love you" thing with the dirty plates. You know, when I was growing up, if we didn't wash the dishes properly, we'd get this plate around the ear, or we'd get it like, "What's wrong with you?" What? And I think we should, we shouldn't be letting those old ways go. Sometimes, like when they don't wash the dishes properly. Remember, we used to send them up the chimneys to clean chimneys and stuff, and send them down mines to get the coal. Kids can be useful like that. And I have jobs for my Stacey, or the pocket money she gets. We've got little rakes in the garden that we scoop dog poopies with because we've got a big garden and we've got a dog. And for a whole 2 days, she would go and scoop the poops because she wanted a €2 coin every day. And then when she had two euros that she hadn't spent, no, I'm not doing that. So I just said, well, there's going to be 2 days that go by when you scoop and you're getting nothing. And I think that we need to find that balance. And I do tell Stacey every night before she goes to bed, I love her. I read her a story and I love you and go to bed and good night and all that. But I don't know, I think sometimes
Look,
people get
I heard a butt.
namby-pambied,
I heard a butt.
and we should stop the namby-pamby stuff.
My mentor accountable. I heard her butt. I heard a butt. I just have to hold you accountable. I love you so much, James. I heard you say butt. Back it
I
up.
said
Keep
butt, yeah, because I'm going to kick their butts if they don't do it properly. And that's the butt I'm talking about.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and I think though it's and it's language. It's a language pattern to be aware of, and it actually when you are aware of it, it really does change a lot. It changes the energy. It changes the atmosphere. Now that does not mean don't discipline your kids, right? Like obviously, discipline is part of the game, right? There's a consequence to choices. And they need to learn that and understand that. So anyway,
and your traders, we're too nice to some people sometimes. We are far too nice, and sometimes people need telling. No offense.
100%. So I do remember there was this time for me, and this was all ego, by the way. So for those of you that know a little bit about my story, I started off with success and I kind of held on to success for a while before I started putting the dumps and letting the world start to humble me a little bit, or letting God start to humble me a bit. So growing up in school, like I did very well in school. I'm an Eagle Scout, so in Boy Scouts, I made the ranks to Eagle.
Zach was valedictorian of his school. There was only 3 kids, though.
I was nice.
I won first place in a bicycle race of 2.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm not trying to get you off topic here, but I used to have a partner in business, in sales, and he would do all the paperwork. But every time that I'd introduce the customer to this man, he'd be like, "Hey, by the way, Travis is such a great guy. You've already talked to him, right? Like you love him and everything. You know what? He actually won first place in this bicycle race." And everyone's like, "Oh wow, really?" He goes, "Yeah, but there was only 2 people." And it's like, "God, you're such a jerk, man."
And the other one was his kid.
Right.
No, so long story short, I had all these good accomplishments when I was younger, and to the point where it made it to where I felt like if I want something done right, I got to do it myself. Like that was essentially my attitude up until like 5 or 6 years ago, and I thought at the time it was serving me well, right? Because I was advancing very quickly in the career path I had chosen and all these things. Little did I know, now that I've seen the other side, I can tell you right now, I was miserable. I was hitting some success markers, but I was miserable. I was like the most miserable person you could possibly be around. I was always my way or the highway. I wouldn't listen to anybody. Okay. It was not a fun experience. It was awful. Now, if we contrast that, and this is where the lesson comes in, because there was a point in time I decided I want a business partner. Mm-hmm. And this was before Brian and Travis. I connected with a couple of guys, and guess what they were actually solidifying my own false belief that I have to do everything myself, because they weren't doing the things that they were supposed to be. So I ended up doing a lot of work there. So now all of a sudden I went from a job where I was working 60 to 90 hours a week to a business where I'm working 90 plus hours a week. Like it was insane. And the amount of strain that was putting on me. And it wasn't actually until I met Brian that started shifting, because Brian was like, "Hey man, I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. Or I know what I need to work on." He's like,
I what you did there. See what you did. I know what I'm not good. I know what I need to work on.
Yeah, I caught it. I caught it.
For my blow up. Keep going.
Yeah. So then, so what he wanted my help with was what I had been working on for a skill set mostly, which was the social media marketing, specifically Facebook marketing. While Brian is a beast at building relationships, specifically from a sales perspective as well. And I'm like, dude, this could be a really good partnership. And I won't have to rely everything on me, where I'm doing sales and fulfillment, all of it at once. And so that's where me and Brian kind of connected. Now, here's where some people would fall. And the only reason, by the way, there's a shift that happened between I have to do everything myself because of ego to I'm willing to give this Brian guy a shot. Right. And Brian, by the way, was thinking the same thing. I'm willing to give this Zach guy a shot. Right. And so the shift that happened there is something that we're going to be talking to you guys about more.
Hey guys, while you sit there and say I was willing to give you a shot, I wanted to just trust you based on your associations.
Yeah.
Because I knew that you were presently at that time working with Joel Bauer.
Yeah.
Who is they consider him the mentor of mentors, the most famous guy you don't know.
Yeah.
Why most famous guy you don't know? He mentors and coaches the top of the top in the world today. Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson. Help me with the rest of the list.
Yeah. Joe Vitale, Peng Joon, Dan Lok. Basically anyone involved with marketing that's high up in that $100 million plus range has been mentored by Joel. And so, and I agree with that. So what I'm trying to say is one way
is failing with pride.
What I'm saying,
Yoda,
when I was doing it by myself, it was just constant work. And I'm like, I want to not have to do it alone. And I humbled myself through that experience. God helped me a lot. And eventually when I was introduced to Brian, obviously there's a lot of mission, vision, values that we were both aligned with. And so like Brian, I decided to put my trust into him and haven't looked back since. Right. And then of course, Travis, it was a similar thing. Here's the thing though, what some people do is because they had this bad experience over here with these partners, they wouldn't even give anyone else a shot. They wouldn't even give them time of day. They'd say, no,
Bringing
screw
the
this.
bad girlfriend or bad boyfriend into the new relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like me, just
She's a
never
bad
dating again.
girlfriend. Anybody know Theory of a Dead Man? She's a bad girlfriend.
Yeah. So 100% like that. 100%. And how many of us do this with trading? How many people do we talk to that are like, I tried trading in the past, it didn't work out, so they're just done? Like, that is not a good way to look at success, right? It's not effective. If you truly want to get success, look at every failure as simply feedback and a point of learning to pivot off of. That's all it is every single time, right? So anyway, so you don't have to do it alone, right? And that's kind of the point here.
May I, Zach?
Don't have to do it alone, and the idea of being able to do it right just one time and understand why you're able to do it right just one time is a repeatable action. And when you can repeat something, you can scale it, right? And so if you have something small, even if everyone knows the story about the penny, right? Where you double it every day and over 30 days it turns into 7 figures, right? Or is it 10? 7. Anyways, the point of the matter is that you can take something small, and if you can repeat it, like, you know, a couple dollars, $50, $100, $500, something that's not a crazy investment. Because let's face it, a modern investment, you're talking about like maybe investing in real estate, or you're talking about tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you want to invest into your savings account and have any kind of meaningful gain, you're talking about millions of dollars, right? And so for something to be small, like $500, that's minuscule in an investment. And you can take that, and if you can repeat one action correctly, then you can scale that $500 to something very, very meaningful, right? And the problem that most people have is they can't identify what they did correctly or what they did incorrectly. And they need somebody else with more experience, more wisdom to be able to point them in that right direction. And working with somebody else, working with a mentor, working with a coach that knows more than you, or even a series of people that can all look and work together to kind of identify, because it's not as always simple as just, well, you push the button wrong over here. Sometimes it's more like, hey, are you having a hard time at home? You know, are you emotionally distracted or something? There's so many different variables that it could be, but if you can identify what they are, then you can repeat the good things and scale it. Simple.
I love that. May I, Zach, as the facilitator of this hangout, that's you, right? I love the cadence of what we have here. We are going into the origin, and the reason why I want to speak life into this conversation right now, kind of maybe set a little bit more of a focus on what has organically happened here, because I know there's lots of new people coming on, and it really is about building know, like, and trust to want to do your due diligence and find out whether or not Prosperity Movement is the perfect fit for you. And when I say whether or not, whether it is, whether you, I won't say you should, because I don't want to shit all over you, but for you to know fully that this is your home. We went where you talked about me, and thank you, Zach. I am in full receiving mode today. I can't wait for you to go into how I closed the great James Leone to come be a board member over here. Now, let's move. I see on my screen, I see Zach, and then Travis, and then Janelle, and then I see James. Can you take us now moving into Travis and share with us that story from your perspective, and then Janelle and that story from your perspective, and then James and from your perspective?
Yeah, I like that idea. Okay. All right. Trav.
Do me first. Yeah.
Dude, I have a beautiful wife, my bro. I have a beautiful wife.
That's not what I meant.
No, I'm going black on this one. Get out.
You know, like the comedians that they make fun of people in the crowd. It's like, do me, right? And then they hurt their feelings. Like, oh, I think Key and Peele have some really funny scripts.
They do.
The episodes that they were making fun of people in the crowd. It's hilarious.
I'm a fan. So yeah, so Brian and I were running an ad agency and doing well overall. And then we're like, you know what? We need another salesperson, or we would love to have another salesperson. And so Brian knew Travis from a long time ago. So Travis, why don't you give it from your perspective there?
Hold on. We had a cadence, if I may.
Yeah.
The cadence was Zach was telling the story from his perspective. Can you keep going, bro? The greatness I see in you is how amazing and effective a communicator you are.
Okay, cool.
That's what I meant. Zach, do me first.
Sorry, I got you.
It's my story first.
Sorry. Yeah. All right.
With that big old dome of yours, man, I'm surprised it went over your head.
I know. I shaved it. It's too slick.
You got that Dr. Evil thing. Or is I love gold? Which one is it?
I don't know. So anyway, Brian and I are going along, and we needed to do bigger numbers. We were looking for help.
Didn't need a guy to do nothing, but we chose, right?
Yeah. So we were looking for a sales guy, and honestly, we were also looking for some help on the fulfillment side, which is Donald, who's not on here. But we'll skip Donald for now. But Travis was first anyway, so we're looking for someone to help on the business development side. And Brian knew Travis from a decade before that, and said, hey, this guy's pretty cool. We need to connect with him. And I remember first we connected not to ask him to come on board with us. It was just to kind of get to know him. And Travis had this vision, really cool vision for his company called Better My Soul. And he was sharing with us all these things about the Soul Plan and all these Soul Plus stuff, which was in perfect alignment with what me and Brian teach and preach. And we're like, oh my gosh, Travis is on it. Right. And so that's when Brian and I were like, what can we do to get Travis on board? Because he would help us so much. And
how do we get this guy? How do we get perfect question? My favorite. How do we do it? How do we get him?
Yeah. And so,
and by the way, if I may, Zach, really quick, this is coaching that I want to implement within our elite program right now. So while I'm jumping in the way that I am, this is part of the game today. Okay. Yeah. Is that cool? This is part of the game today, that this is not to be rude. This is to speak the truth and the love and the light into the conversation.
Right on. Makes sense.
Cool. Okay.
I'm always looking to improve anyways. So better questions are always better. More.
That's what I love you. That's what I see it do.
Is that how different is that from My Way or the Highway guy? Right? Like very different. Anyway,
that guy's dead.
Yeah. So we're like, how do we get Travis on board? And we decided to offer him an equal partnership, to become an equal partner with us in our existing business. So we had already done what we considered the footwork at the time to get a system in place. Little did we know that Travis was going to take that foundation and just completely blow it up in a good way. Right. And so Travis agreed. Now, later we found out Travis turned down a $20,000 per month offer from another in order to partner with me and Brian. So I didn't know that until way later.
Right. A year and a half later. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And right out the gates, were we making $20,000 a month there, Travis?
No, we were eating macaroni and cheese, bro.
We were doing ramen noodles the whole way.
You guys ever heard of a banana pepper sandwich? Like that's about as poor as you get. And I've been there, and just white Wonder Bread with the rest of the all I had in the fridge was the banana peppers. It was like, a tear dropping down the cheek, and you're just eating the sandwich. There wasn't even Doritos to go with it. It was all,
My dad used to say wiener water soup.
Oh, gross.
Nasty.
Hey, y'all want wiener water soup? Let's go.
So
It's like the LaCroix of soups.
Richness right there.
so
That's
so anyway,
gross.
so that's where we were at, and Travis gave up an incredible opportunity to join because he trusted me and Brian and our vision and our belief system and our mission, vision, values, and our integrity. And he chose that over the money, which I very much commend you on, Travis, because it took me a lot longer in my life to learn that lesson. In fact, I didn't learn it until I met Brian. So, so very, very well done. And of course, Travis increased our sales by 300%. He tripled our sales in the first year he worked with us.
First month, baby. First month.
My bad.
What are you talking about?
From
Actually, it
the
was
get-go.
Then year, yeah, it was month and then year. I think it was actually day to day. It was actually second to second, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, week to week, month to month, and we are 5xing the company year to year right now.
Yeah. And
On
then
average.
The first full year together, I think we doubled basically. The second
I think
full year together, we quadrupled, and we're on track right now to octuple. I don't know how to say that one. 8x, right?
yeah.
Are we
more-
are we still on track for that?
Tesla in your blood or something? What do you got? Tesla in your blood? Is Tesla in your blood? What are you eating?
Yeah. Amazing. So we were very happy, obviously, with our decision, and we were very happy that he trusted us to hop on board. And then, of course, things evolved, right? We kept building processes and systems for our marketing fulfillment and our sales development. And we kept building these processes and systems and getting them better and better. And we thought that was going to be our route forever. And we just kept coming up with plans to scale and this and that until we discovered trading. That changed everything. Once we discovered trading, we thought, well, what's our goal, right? What's our actual mission? And our mission is ultimately to help millions of people do more of the things they love with the people they love most. What gets people to
In the
that
world. How many people are in the world, Zach, on average?
7 billion, 6, 7, 8 billion, somewhere around there?
Sounds like we're thinking too small.
Yeah. Yeah.
7 billion, give or take a billion. Like your spread there was crazy.
Hey, what do you wanna do today, Pinky? Or wait, Brain? What do you want to do today, Brain? Hey, Brain, what do you want to do today, Brain? Hey, Brain.
So,
You everywhere.
What?
Trying to take over the world.
yeah. So our mission is to help 7 billion people do more of the things they love with people they love most. So we're thinking
Until there's more people, because I
What?
think somewhere in the good book that you got to be fruitful and multiply.
that's right. That's right. So what is going to get people to that point faster? Is it going to be marketing, business and marketing, or is it going to be mastering how to trade? And ultimately, from our business experience, trading much faster, much faster. There's one thing you have to learn, right? Trading. Right? In business, you've got copywriting, design. There's a lot of tech involved. There's
Zach,
sales.
Zach, may I?
Yeah.
This is a lens. Okay. While I'm listening to you, it sounds like a lens to me. Okay.
That's
Because here's the thing. Some people view trading in such a way. Some people view business in a very different way. Because would you say at the trajectory of what we're doing in our business right now that it could possibly be that we will, actually not possibly, but at this rate, it is proven based on the results that we will be doing better than what James is doing here, probably within the next few months or a year?
100%. So the thing to consider though is the time and energy spent into the skill sets for that business versus the skill set for trading.
Now, may I ask you a question? I
Absolutely.
just did with intention. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. So,
Okay.
so here's the thing though, these skills that we're talking about right now, and we're actually illustrating in this YouTube, wherever we are listening right now, are transferable to absolutely all 4 pillars of prosperity. When it comes to your time,
Yeah.
when it comes to your health, when it comes to your relationships, and when it comes to making money. And so what does that mean? Hey, guess what? If you're challenged in your relationship right now, in your marriage or whatever, the flip of a switch, you have a choice. You can change it. That's a guarantee. In your trading, in your job, in your business, no matter what you are doing, I care. I was going to say I don't care. I care so much to tell you that the truth of the matter is you can increase in any and every area of your life that you want and that you choose.
Right. 100%. So what I was getting to is our perspective when we learned about trading, right?
At that time.
And even so, what we found, even if we do look at all the components of business, we found that it's better for individuals to focus on a thing, right? So if we have a person focused on copywriting, right? Like that's a little bit more effective than everyone doing copywriting. Or if we have one person focused on design work or one person on the tech side of things, that way they can specialize and then they're more effective that way. Trading, though, you don't need a team to do that kind of thing. And so that's where we were kind of looking at is, okay, an individual with a family.
Lens again. You don't need a team for trading because it seems like that's what we offer here. We provide you a team to implement
a community.
Yes. That's a team.
Well, the way I view it is a little bit different. I mean, it is a team, yeah, but it's not a team that impacts the wrong word. They don't set up your indicators and choose when to push your button.
You're not looking at a bunch of different skill sets to refine by yourself or with a team. With a trading, our support systems, it's all focused on one skill set. Is I think what Zach's trying to say.
Even in
right.
business,
So instead of dividing the attention, it's very, very focused. And so so at that point, you don't need a team of different skill sets. Rather, instead, you need the camaraderie and support systems and coaching and mentorship of somebody who else is looking specifically at what you're doing too, but you're not scattered out. It is very focused, whereas business has so many different moving parts that's where it gets very convoluted.
In addition to that, business leaders, they also need community outside of like team to do their individual roles. It's important for entrepreneurs to hang out with other entrepreneurs and to have a community as well. So that's why I was separating the difference between like an internal team to make the process work versus a community, which is there for support and growth. Right. Mm-hmm. So anyway, back to
something very special at the beginning of this, and I permission to challenge you.
Feel free.
Thank you. I am free. So you had said Brian owned his skill sets. So in business, and in life, you always are going to have specific skill sets that you can identify that are your strengths, right? Yeah. Because either way, even committing to trading is going to take just that commitment, right?
Yeah.
Right? And so no matter where you're at, if you decide that this is just to narrow it down to that one thing, can we play a game?
That sounds like a jigsaw question. I'm a little scared.
Well, let's turn your fear into courage.
I play a game.
Can we, in the comments, describe looking for one word, the conversation and the focus of today's episode from your perspective? And I want to hear each panelist. The conversation that we're having today, one word, what is it doing for you? James is multitasking. I think he's looking at the charts. He's talking with Guy because he's going to have a very special thing to be able to present here in a little bit.
Whoever's listening on this right now, and you're not actually seeing what, watching us. I don't know if thing is. Yeah, I guess everyone can see the comments, right? But can they see it on their YouTube replay?
No,
right? So if you're watching this, you can't see the comments. James is basically helping people make money while we're chatting. So
the Dow long signal. We're expecting the Dow long because we're expecting something else in 20 minutes. So in at 9.50, stop loss at 9.40. It hasn't come back there. We're up at 9.80. There's 30 pips on the table. I'm looking for 20 more. There's 20 locked in. It can do what it likes now.
But
Looking
he's
for another
making
20
money
pips though.
for those that need the extra help. He's making money on this podcast while we're here right now. And what's your lot size right now there, James?
I only still $50 a pip.
$50 a pip, and you said you've locked in 20.
Yeah.
It's
So
50
grand,
times.
I've locked in £1,000, that is. I wonder, do you and Zach remember how I told you to introduce me?
I don't remember.
Oh, Yoda.
No, that wasn't it. I said, you've got to be honest with it. There's no bigging me up. You'll have to say, and this is a complete bastard we know called James.
Look at this bugger.
Yeah. So Brian, I know you want to do the comment thing. I'd love to get to Janelle and James as well for the story.
Oh, that's right. We set the terms with that. We got to now, actually, the timeline is collapsing into shorter, impactful words. This is why the one word idea was very meaningful, because we have, and we're choosing with all our other commitments to be out of here and done within 15 minutes. And we're going to have a call to action at the end. And so we probably have how many minutes right now?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. Can you get to Janelle and James in 10 minutes with the most impact in your words?
I will. So, Janelle. So what ended up happening, we switched and we pivoted to learn trading first, and then to teach others and use our marketing and sales prowess to help other people learn trading so they can do more of the things they love with the people they love most, following our mission. And so what ended up happening is I was primarily training folks in the binary side, and Janelle kind of stood out as like, sorry, Janelle, not sorry, the perfect student. Okay. She was doing everything we were suggesting.
I was the golden child for a little while.
Yes. She was doing everything that we were suggesting. And more than that, she was like, what can I do to help? What else can I do? And she started doing stuff for us for free, to be honest, at first. And we were like, man, we want to reward her for doing all this stuff. What can we do to get Janelle on the team? And that was the next conversation. And we worked hard and we figured out a way to get Janelle on the team to be the phase 1 coach. And here she is. And she, by the way, since she took over coaching, she increased our daily success rate by like 5 or 10% from when I was doing it compared to when she's doing it. So, woohoo, go Janelle. Awesome. We're very happy with that decision to this day. And then James. Okay, so we're like, I don't know. I want
to highlight something with Janelle too. You know, she worked without. Maybe this is a little off topic. Never mind. I have, and we're limited on time. I'm sorry, I got your hopes up to have something to say, but
finish strong, bro. Encouraging you. Finish strong.
You can do it.
Well, Janelle has equity of our company. You know, it's not like she just gets paid an hourly rate or something. She gets paid directly like we do because she's earned it. And that's kind of the idea of how we're trying to spread prosperity movement. It's not just about us growing our pocketbooks, but about giving other people opportunity to get equity into it, entities like this and grow. It's the only way we grow prosperity movement. For anyone who doesn't know, we're not selling courses. We're selling our time. It requires us to show up and be with you, right? Yeah. And if that's the case, then we get capped on how many people we can help. So the only way to grow is to inspire the next wave of people like Janelle to continue to grow the movement itself and give those pieces of equity and another stream of income on top of trading. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome. So at the time, my expertise was only binary, and still is to this day for now. But dang it, not but. So still is for now.
But it can keep going after the but, so long it's in the perfect order.
I'll just switch it to, so we were looking for some help for Forex, so that somebody else that already knew Forex was a pro at Forex. And the only person that we wanted to even entertain in terms of adding to our team was James. And the reason for that is because we were familiar with James's teaching style, his strategy. Well, one of his strategies is his inferior strategy, which we didn't know at the time. We had no idea this was his lesser strategy. But we really, really got some results from his teachings. And we were like, we don't want anyone else. We just want James. So Brian, I'm like, Brian, you got to somehow connect with James. So Brian had this great idea of interviewing James. And that's how we would actually start the relationship, is let's interview him for the people that follow us, like Janelle and the rest of the prosperity folks. And we did. Not once, but twice we interviewed James for our podcast. And it was a great conversation. And that opened the door for more conversations in terms of seeing if he was open to being an educator at a different platform than where he was, or still kind of is. So,
He's staple, baby.
yeah. So he was like, yeah, but what strategy do you guys want? Is what he asked us. We're like, what? You have more than one? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I could give you the one that the other people have, but I'm telling you, that's the lesser strategy. Do you want the best strategy? We're like, dude, we won't accept anything less than the best, right?
We won't accept anything, like Deborah said in the comments here. We won't accept anything except that bastard.
That's right. So we're like, don't give us your secondhand strategy. We want the best strategy. And he's like, okay, cool. Here's
The best bastard.
So he gave us a price point, what it would take, and we brought him on as well with a rev share agreement, so that he's essentially another partner in the company. And we do not at all even come close to regretting that either. James has shown up time and time again. We have seen insane improvements and success and results with our community. And so that's how that whole thing happened. And so all of this has kind of come around here over the last couple of years to get to this point. And it's been an amazing thing. And none of this could have happened if any of us was thinking my way or the highway. Right. None of this could have happened because we all work together and listen to each other, as much as sometimes it's painful for us because sometimes we want to get in our own egos and, we're not perfect by any means. However, what we did find is that
who's the most imperfect one and why you?
this is the next thing.
You should always ask yourself that question when you're mad at people. Who's the most wrong one and why me?
Reasons that Travis was not on screen the other day, Zach.
No, we don't have to go.
No. It's a pretty good segue with our topic with the equation, Basically, butts are for pooping. They're not for language. All right.
We've had some very good times on Zoom calls. And what's crazy, guys, too, just a little separate note. Brian, Travis, and I we're never together until this last what was it, July? When did you get married, dude?
July 8th.
July was the first time
together. We were always together from the point of commitment, just not in person up until.
Yeah, we had seen each other separately in person before, but not all three of us in the same spot. And so Brian and I went to Travis's wedding in July. And that's where we got to all three of us be in the same spot together physically. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait because in January, hopefully we'll get James with us too. And the four of us, and then Janelle will be there too. So the five of us, and then some other members of our team will be there. We're going to go to Mexico. And by the way, that's going to be an open invite for people to join us.
Wow. Yeah, Deborah's already saying I'm going to be there. We got commitments coming in overflow from the community right now. Commitments.
I didn't know we're letting other people come. Really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Now.
Wow.
Like Zach just pulled a dictator move, didn't he?
My way or the highway, dig it.
This is happening in real time. We're fighting right now.
Obviously, for you guys, you're gonna have to, it's not like we're gonna pay for your trip to Cancun, okay? But it's open. If you want to join us, we are.
Hey, if I may,
Yeah.
No matter what, we will help you. We will help you to get what you want to get there.
That's a good point. Very good. Yes. I love it. I love it. Do we want to get into the call to action today?
I got a thing to say before we do that.
Okay.
I know a lot of people out there that I've talked to personally have, started struggling with the idea of like investing with us. And it kind of boils down to a belief system of I can't afford it. And some people genuinely are in a position where their income does not meet the ability to put money elsewhere. They're paycheck to paycheck. That happens, right? But that's current income. When we expand upon that, there are very, very, very numerous ways to go and make, some other streams of income, right? And it requires effort, it requires input and stuff. But when people tell me I can't afford this, I kind of chuckle in my head. I'm like, that's exactly why you need financial education, because you can't afford it. And it's very affordable. It's like, it's
Listen to
laughable.
what you just said.
You know?
You can't afford it. If you think you can, you think you can't. You're just going to keep getting that. There was a big conversation we had last night with our boy. Keep going.
Yeah, and so the whole point is, like you just said a minute ago, we will personally help you figure out how to be able to get to Cancun if you want to go with us, right? And what I'm hearing from you is that we're gonna help you make some more money. That way, it's not even a question, right? And so that's kind of the whole. We are going to help, blah blah blah. That's the whole point of this conversation. Is that oftentimes it's way better to work with some people or other people. And here's the facts. A lot of people don't think that we'll ever say. We're not married to the outcome of you working with us. It doesn't change our life. It'll change yours. So it doesn't matter to us if you say yes or no. So at least say yes to somebody. Okay. If you don't want to do prosperity movement, go somewhere else and say yes to them and work with them. Okay. I'm sure there's other people out there. They're not as good as us. All right. Let's have some pride, some ego, but they're not as good as us. Oops.
They're just as great if they want to be.
Yeah.
I want a couple minutes to transition into my next call. Okay. So I'm going to make this really brief and high level. If you want to learn how to make 5 figures in 10 phone calls, 5 figures, what is that?
$10,000.
$10,000. If you want to learn how to make $20,000 in 20 phone calls, what's the link that people should sign up to get into our calendar there, Travis? And this, by the way, you don't even have to be a member of Prosperity Movement yet to make that money. It doesn't cost you anything, just an investment of your time of being coachable.
Yeah.
Got it. We'll put them on the founders.
That's a solid statement right there. It doesn't require a financial investment; it requires a time investment, right? And so for people who are sitting there, kind of, the excuse that I was talking about, I can't afford it. It's like, well, you don't need the money to be able to start making it, right? People think you have to have money to make money. Okay, it certainly makes it easier, but you can go out and show initiative and start doing things. We are compiling a list.
Bringing this home because I'm jumping off because I want to make my transition here. You're bringing this home. This is you, and I love you, and you're the bomb.com. Collapsing time. What? That's from you. What is the link that people need to go to and grow to? What is that link?
Yeah,
and
I popped it in the chat, but
out of here. Love you. I'm going to the moon, baby.
Adios, my man. So here's the link, guys. It's go.prosperity.movement.online/founders calendar. Founders calendar. Go.prosperitymovement.online/founders calendar. I put it in the Zoom chat. I also put it in the Facebook chat comments area. So you can click on those that way. But anyway, thank you everybody for being here. Really appreciate your time. And we will see you guys next week.
Adios. Bye-bye.